Just the concept of signing up for a race of any sort is enough to make most of us a little nervous. But obstacle course races like Tough Mudder or the Savage Race, they are popping up all over the Suncoast, with tracks that include mud, water, even barbed wire. Well, here to help us understand how to get ready for something like this is trainer Stephen Wilk from Chase Fit. Welcome, Stephen.
Welcome.
When it comes to obstacle courses, we obviously have the right guy. How many of them have you done?
Let's see. Well, my first one was in 2015. I did one. 2016, so the addiction kind of picked up 9. 21 last year, and I'm at 15 this year. On pace for 30.
Wow. Oh my.
You're not just participating, but you're also ranking pretty high. Go ahead and brag a little bit on where you place.
So there's some local races that I typically do pretty well at, like Mud Endeavor here on the shirt that I'm wearing. But then there's some bigger races, like an East Coast race, Bone Frog. You know, I've been fortunate enough. I've done 2 of them so far. I've gotten first place in both of those.
Whoa.
Really cool. You get some pretty cool trophies,
Yay.
a cool paddle to take home, so it's pretty neat.
It's all about the bling.
Yeah. Well, the prize at the end, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of prizes, you actually, I understand, met your soon-to-be wife during one of these races.
Yeah, actually, is that Savage Race. So it was kind of like one more reason for it to be my favorite race. But yeah, I just met her there. It was actually in the grounds afterwards. We had just finished running. We kind of had just seen each other a little bit, just because we've known that we've gotten similar races. And she was there, and we just kind of struck up conversation, and it went from there.
Oh.
So yeah.
Your eyes met over the barbed wire, and the rest is history.
Maybe I should sign up for one there.
Which is surprising, because I was pretty dirty after the race too. So I'm pretty lucky.
You are obviously a fit guy, but let's talk about when you tried your first obstacle course race. How well did you do?
I actually ended up, I jumped right into the competitive wave. Probably, I don't know, it wasn't the best idea, but I ended up getting 49th. So out of hundreds.
Okay.
So I was pretty far. I mean, I did well enough, but I was pretty far down there. And kind of that 1 through 49, pretty big time slots. I was like 22 minutes off the pace of the winner. So
wow. But you didn't stop.
No.
So what did you learn? What did you realize from kind of not doing as well as you had hoped on your first race? What did you learn? How did you have to train differently for races like this?
There's a couple different things that they kind of really focused on. Was the strength aspect, really having to build up some strength, because we're doing different things like carrying, climbing, crawling, all these different things that use all these different body parts, which is good. We did some hit endurance or some hit training. So really trying to get the heart rate elevated up there, really get your body moving and working under stress. But most importantly, and probably the biggest one that everybody kind of likes to skip, is the endurance factor. You know, really working on that cardiovascular engine, and being able to run for prolonged periods of time without, being exhausted.
Sure, because I mean, strength in small bursts, I would imagine, is one thing, but then to have to, finish out the race and keep it going is another. You mentioned HIIT, which is high intensity interval
training. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So HIIT is a common way that people phrase it.
So the way that the skills you have to build up for an obstacle race, even if we're not considering an obstacle course race, these are still skills I understand that we need in everyday life.
Oh, absolutely. So again, the running, climbing, crawling, hanging on to things, being able to carry stuff, all translates into real life, because we as human beings have to be able to move in all sorts of different directions. And just because we might not be going under barbed wire every day doesn't mean that we don't need core stability to be able to prevent ourselves from, not falling as I do this.
Sure.
And so the real life translation is really important.
So you brought a few exercises that can help train. Let's bring you over here so you can start with Linda. Tell us what the exercise is and what it helps.
So she's just going to do an isometric squeeze on this bar here. And basically what we're trying to do is increase our grip strength and our grip endurance. So she's got it right down there. Yeah, she's ready to go. So she's just going to squeeze that bar as hard as she can. And you're just going to slowly rotate your elbow, try to rotate and bend that bar, outward as that, and then work your way back inward.
Maybe I'll go on a race.
Yeah, I like it.
So Steve, how is this working for her? Her grip?
So this is going to work our forearms and our grip. And the important part about this is that we can hold on to things, or even more importantly, real life translation is, now I can go up and down this, carrying groceries and maybe take one less trip. And I don't know about you, but I sweat like crazy in Florida. And I don't want to make another trip to the car to get some groceries in. So kind of a real life translation, that's a little bit of a benefit for you.
All right, so while Linda's working on her grip, is this more of a balance thing for me?
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit more of a balancing. It's going to be a little isolateral, stability here. What we're going to do is we're going to do some single leg deadlifts. There's a couple different ways we could do it. First, we're going to show you with the assistance of the chair here for stability. For anybody that kind of requires a little less or a little more stability. What we're going to do is we're just going to have a hand over here, keeping ourselves braced. Our inside foot's going to stay planted to the ground. And then what we're going to do is holding with our outside hand, you're going to kick back nice and smooth, and you're going to come down nice and flat. So you see he's going to be straight like a board here, keeping our back in line, making sure we're not doing flexion under load. Yeah, and you're going to feel that big pull in your hamstring, right? So the important part is we have to stabilize here, you know, the lateral motion. And you're really going to get the benefit from the hamstring. You can see as his kind of knee shakes there, we're really stretching that hamstring out, working. And again, real life translation, we're able to balance. We don't fall over when we do things. We can bend over properly without running the risk of hurting ourselves.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, core, you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Is that what you
core
have Candace
core is
ready
super
for?
important. Yeah. So
Take my shoes off.
yeah, perfect. So what she's going to do is she's going to, everybody knows a plank. We're just going to add a little spice
Everyone
to
hates
this.
a plank.
Everybody,
I love that, right?
everybody hates a plank. If I told you it was a 5-second plank, it wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah,
right?
so my limit's
So-
a minute, so.
Perfect. So what we're going to have to do is she's going to go ahead and get in a plank position on her elbows. And then with this movement here, we're just going to add a little bit of spice to it, kind of replicating a barbed wire crawl. All she's going to do is take and roll her hips from side to side, just like that. Keep your hips nice and low. And with this, what we're doing is engaging our oblique abdominals a little bit extra and working our core through movement and stability, which is super important for racing. Because when we race, we're moving constantly. It's not, hey, get here and just sit here for a minute, right? So it's kind of really important. Again, this is talking about the stability aspect of it,
Ooh, that
being
definitely
able to do that.
adds to it.
It's a
Yeah, a
nice
little
way
bit
to
of
kind of
variety.
kick up the plank, too.
Yeah.
So I understand that there are some races coming up in the area in about 12 or so weeks, and you are kicking off a course, a 10-week-long course that will get people ready for this.
Absolutely, yeah. So over at DefIt downtown here in Sarasota, we're doing a 12-week course. And the nice part about the program is a progressive-based program. So if we can't do a pull-up, you know, don't worry about it. That's not a big deal.
So it's good for any
yeah,
any
it's
fitness
good for anybody
level.
because we're taking you from the basic first steps and leading our way up into it.
I love this. All right, so whether you're going to go through the mud or you just want to carry your groceries well, there's an option for you.
Absolutely.
I understand you also have a free class coming up this Thursday, July 19th at Definition Fit in downtown Sarasota. To register for the free class and get more information about the ongoing course, you can visit chase.fit online. All right, coming up next, we're going house hunting in Suncoast for sale.